Hi, my name is Tariq Ahmed. I'm a family doctor here in Buffalo, New York. And kind of growing up in Buffalo, we have, access to the internet. So I was, especially in my, you know, teenage years and in my 20s, I watched a lot of tragedies unfolding on social media. And I realized that we have to do something about it. As people living in privilege, we have to connect ourselves with the unprivileged. But the question was, how do we do it? And I realized that living here in the States and people living in privileged locations in general, they have access to, usually they have access to capital, they have access to talent, they have access to people doing research and many different things, including essential need items like food, water, electricity. And we have access to a tinkering culture here in America where people love to build stuff. And I wanted to take advantage of that and utilize that for a better purpose and use that for the benefit of humanity. So I was kind of motivated that, and I was thinking about that for a long time. And I was very happy and grateful that I met someone who resonated similarly, Dr. Saquib, who can introduce himself.
Thank you, Dr. You're very kind. My name is Saquib Ahmed. I'm a professor here at the State University of New York State University. Primarily a physicist, theoretical and computational. But yeah, I was extremely happy to have our kind of resonate. We already talked about some of the reasons why we resonate. So I don't want to point, but I think just a couple of things just to enhance on what I was saying, which is that for sure there is a whole world dystopia surrounding how we live our lives here in the West. Versus folks to even here in the West to go through a natural calamity or very globe or in various war-torn areas, and it was a feeling of tremendous need. This is connecting and using your
Yeah, so I think what makes us different is especially the communities that we want to work with. So the communities that want to work with are usually the most neglected, and they are also, cut off from the world sometimes, and also it's hard to access them for whatever situation. Here at Nushoor, we take advantage of the internet because many of these communities are still connected to the internet, and with Starlink and other technologies, the amount of people who are able to connect to the World Wide Web is increasing. So I think that's a huge advantage that's not taken advantage of enough. And here at Nushoor, we basically connect with these communities online, and we also work to find partner NGOs who are actually on the ground, and we create teams based on power, based on electricity, based on water purification, based on different types of essential needs structures. And we team with local partners at universities, we different organizations who are also interested in the same thing, and we connect them to these communities overseas. And we take students and young professionals and who are interested in these in different projects, and we create. Oh, sorry. Can I redo that?
Oh, but this I think the editing part. Are we good?
Okay.
The exception is short and what's different from other.
Yeah. So the way we're different, so with the way that Insurance Institute is different from other organizations, is that we are trying to reach out to communities who are the most cut off, and but still have access to the World Wide Web. And many times, and there's many communities that fall in this category, and we try to find ways that, based on our connection with them, we study their pain points, and we develop different teams here in America, based on power, based on electricity, based on water, based on different types of structures, and we build teams that can build partnerships with these members of community overseas, and we develop projects based on the pain points that are that are clear to us. And what's different is that this is a two-way street, where basically we tell them our ideas to solve the pain points, and they tell us this will work, this will not work, this is not culturally appropriate. We don't have the materials like this, that what you're saying, we have to modify. That means over here, we have to modify the project details until it's relevant to them. We build an MVP and we show it to them, and they critique it, and we go back to the drawing board. And then eventually we work with them to replicate it over there. So this is basically how Nushoor works. And other organizations are sometimes on the ground, which is, we're not there yet. We would like to be, but we're not on the ground yet. And I think there's enough work to go around. Many organizations are doing really good work, and we're trying to contribute to that effort.
Absolutely. And I think just talking about scope, I think a lot of these organizations um, are spread across the globe, a lot in East Asia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, a lot in Africa, and we've been in touch with a few of these organizations, and like I was saying, there's enough work, there's enough tragedies unfortunately unfolding before our eyes, that we need large individuals, organizations, strategically working together. You don't want to step over each other's toes, but that's where the strategy is. As you're looking at water, for example, there's water solution. There are so many ways of, solving water into capture, storing, purification, desalination, etc., etc. And then again, these things differ from location to locations. There's a lot of complexity oftentimes, and so it becomes important to approach these solution pathways through multiple innovative pathways, not just. And so we are grateful to join in the mix of these humanitarian efforts right here in our backyard and globally. And yeah,
thinking about projects that some of the projects that are happening.
Sure. I'll mention three projects that are doing right now. One project is working on developing more resistant and weather proof structures. So we're working with Veranda Design, which is a company based in a very poor part of the Middle East, and they actually have a greenhouse which was providing agricultural kits to the local community, so the local community could grow their own food. Unfortunately, due to floods and different winter storms, this greenhouse was actually destroyed. So we were working with a local structural engineer, one of our researchers was, and we're building a more weatherproof and more resistant structure, so that the next reiteration of that greenhouse is stronger, more weather resistant, and can survive during the flood. So that's one project. Another project is in the arena of food that I can mention. Recently, one of our researchers created a method to grow mushrooms using just cardboard and plastic bottle. He basically took oyster mushroom spawn, and he took hot soaked cardboard and put it in a plastic bottle that was also heat treated, and he put the mushroom spawn in there. 4 weeks later, we saw a lot of mycelium growth, and we saw the first mushrooms sprouting. So that was a big, kind of like a moment of elation for us, because we didn't water, these mushrooms. We just left them alone in a dark spot, and they were able to grow by themselves. Another project that we're working on is basically growing sweet potato in very easy to grow ways. So we took the tuber, the sweet potato, and the researcher, what he did was he took a plastic bottle, cut the top part off, inverted it, and filled the top part with soil, and filled the bottom of the outside plastic bottle with water. and he was able to grow and have the sweet potato sprout and grow multiple vines. And he took those vines and using another hydroponics method called the Kratky method, and basically using another set of bottles, was able to grow these vines out until they rooted. So he was able to take one plant and create 20 clones of itself, which means that you can grow more plants, grow more sweet potato, and have a higher yield. So that's another project that a researcher has been working on. A third that I can mention is we're working on developing wind turbines from basically scrap abandoned motors, like in abandoned washing machines and ceiling fans, and take those and build wind turbines from scrap. Metal cans, plastic bottles, PVC pipes, and basically modify it so it can rotate in very low wind areas. And then another project is a pedal generator. So there's always been versions of pedal generators that have been there for at least 70 years. We're trying to build a version that can, or at least replicate a version that's easy to build from an electric bike. So there's no loss, there's less loss, of friction, and you can have this new version of an electric bike that can generate electricity using very low loss methods and can power 8 or more appliances with just 15 minutes of pedaling. And we saw, there's other YouTube engineers working on this project. We hope to replicate their work and build on it. So some of our projects.
Where is Nushoor?
So, absolutely. So, just building up on what Tariq said, I mean, there's a lot of encouragement and a lot of breakthrough. I mean, we are in our seventh, let's say, 8 month now, and we've grown with time. Initially, it was just 2 or 3 of us, and then now we are a couple dozen of us. And when I say us, like I was saying, young individuals and the graduates or early careers. Um, so it's a growing institution, and so there's a lot of good in society. There's a lot of people with great hearts and combination with background expertise to resonate with this vision of giving back to humanity at large, irrespective of conditions of where you're from. And so there's growth. There's also tremendous opportunity that we mentioned earlier. There's no, the unfortunate nature of the way the world is solving or evolving our way is that there's a lot of tragedies that happen, either man-made or through natural disasters. So there is no lack of that. So ideally, the short is, or the ultimate vision would be that individuals, communities, to be able to have multiple solution pathways for each one of these dimensions of living. So food security, water purification, fuel, some degree of sanitation, among a host of work, but these are the key ones. So ultimately, that is the ultimate goal that communities should have ways of being self-sufficient, so that they can not only take what solutions we're providing, but evolve and cater them customs as situations, to be dynamic in nature. And again, we're grateful to find ourselves in this space. There's one point to understand as well, which is, so we talk about it, there are other organizations uh, who are on the ground, and we are taking advantage of some of the things that are unique to our time, which are practical powers, tremendous advancements in technology through AI and how we AI technology, AI plus methods, whereby Dark is a physician, I myself is a scientist. We're not professionals. We're not trained in this area of humanitarian technology. Nonetheless, we have not only come to see, we have come up with solutions. Us and obviously everyone on our team. And so it's a time of tremendous acceleration in terms of discovery and growth, a lot of knowledge and know-how that Tariq was saying earlier is found online, to be able to connect them in a good way, meaning to filter out the misinformation and use the knowledge and information in strategic ways to find solutions. I think these will only go up in bounds over the next 5, 10 years. So to be able to constantly adapt and use these resources to find these strategic solutions for the environment of humanity in large, I think that is that's where we see ourselves.
What is Nushoor's message to the world?
Yushua's message to the world is no longer can you say, what can I do when you see tragedies unfolding in front of you? There are always ways that you can empower people, and you can always find ways to help people if you wish. No longer is the excuse of, well, I'll just donate, or or I'll just try to engage politically. I mean, these are all fine. These are all adjunct methods, but I feel like what Nushoor is doing, and what a lot of other organizations involved in appropriate technology is doing, is much more sustainable. It's much more, it's ways that communities can just find ways to survive without relying on handouts and without relying on one-time consumables. It's ways that they can actually find ways where they don't have to depend on other people. And when you find ways to not depend on other people, and you have enough food and water and essential needs available to you, then you're able to kind of progress as a community and able to think about other things instead of just survival. So that's our message to the world, that no longer is the excuse, what can I do, valid.
You think about
Thank you.
Thank you.